On a boat, power is precious. So why not save energy by making sure your refrigerator is cooling itself as efficiently as possible? Hi, I'm Carolyn Sherlock, and on this episode of the Boat Galley Podcast, I'll share 4 tips to make sure your refrigerator isn't working harder than it has to in order to keep your food cold. Now, this episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Marmara Imports. Their hand-loomed, fair trade, organic cotton Turkish towels are highly absorbent, dry quickly, fold flat, and are soft and luxurious. Perfect for life aboard. I truly love mine. Use coupon code PODCAST10 for 10% off any order of $40 or more. MarmaraImports.com. More than a towel. Refrigeration is usually the biggest drain on a boat's power supply. Here are 4 almost free ways to improve your galley refrigerator's efficiency and use less power for your refrigerator. First, let's stop the drain. Hot air rises, cold air falls. You want to keep all that nice cold air in the refrigerator box, right? But many boat refrigerators were built with a drain in the bottom so that any condensation wouldn't build up, but would just drip into the bilge. Well, it's an open pipe for cold air to leave the refrigerator and warmer air from the bilge to enter the refrigerator. Think of it this way. Would you leave the drain plug open on a cooler? No one does. So why would you have an open drain in the refrigerator? The easiest way to solve the problem is to just stick a wine cork in the drain hole. You may have to use a knife and trim it down a bit, but you want a tight fit and enough of the cork protruding that you can remove it if you want to when defrosting the refrigerator. No wine cork? Well, you can use a rubber stopper or a tight little roll of duct tape to stop the air. This one item that'll take you less than 5 minutes to implement will have a huge impact on how much power your refrigerator uses. Second, let's improve the airflow to the condenser. A refrigerator condenser needs lots of nice fresh air to work efficiently. Basically, a refrigerator works by taking heat inside the refrigerator and moving it outside the refrigerator. The heat is conducted by the refrigerant and it dissipates into the air around the condensing coils. The less fresh air around the compressor and coils, the harder the refrigerator has to work to get rid of the heat and the more energy it'll use. Now, boats are generally designed with the compressor and condenser hidden somewhere, often in a lazarette, engine compartment, or a locker. There's usually a cutout for air to reach the condenser, and usually the compressor itself has a fan to keep the air moving. To keep the refrigerator working at peak efficiency, keep the airflow pathways unobstructed and clean the fan blades too. While you're at it, dust off the tubes carrying the refrigerant. The dust acts as a little blanket, keeping the refrigerant warm instead of allowing the heat to dissipate. Now third, let's do the most work at the coolest time. The cooler the air around the compressor and condenser, the more efficiently it'll work. So if you're going to put a big load on the refrigerator, you want to do it when the air is the coolest. In the tropic, paying attention to this can have a big impact on the power drain. Nighttime temperatures may be 30 degrees cooler than in the daytime. By putting a fresh load of drinks in the refrigerator just before bed, instead of right after breakfast, you can use 10% or more less power in chilling them down. And finally, keep it defrosted. As ice builds up, it actually tends to insulate the chill plate. By keeping the refrigerator defrosted on a regular basis, you'll make it much easier for all that coolness to transfer to your food. Defrosting doesn't have to be a pain and take forever. In the show notes, I've got a link to my tips for quick and easy defrosting. I've also done a podcast on it. You can search in your podcast player. That's it for this week. Enjoy the extra power that you'll have when you get your refrigerator running more efficiently. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Boat Galley Podcast, Please tell your friends and be sure to subscribe in your podcast app. Thanks.